Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas, October the 19th, and welcome to our video commentary. I want to talk about a couple of stories today, and let me begin with this controversy regarding the phone call that apparently President Trump made to the widow or the mother of a fallen soldier in Niger. Look, I happen to know the parents of a young man who was killed in Iraq, and I know how painful that whole process was for them and for everybody who knew them. And I find it appalling that a conversation between the President of the United States, in this case, the Commander in Chief, and the family of one of the fallen soldiers, I find it appalling that this conversation was even released to the press in the first place, or that a Congresswoman decided to politicize it by turning it into another anti-Trump attack. You know, there's a lot to criticize Donald Trump about, but I hope that his conversations with the families of fallen soldiers is not one of them. And also to take a line out of the conversation rather than cover the entire transcript or the entire conversation and say, look at this line right here. President Trump doesn't care, or President Trump is not sensitive to the families of the fallen. I think it's outrageous. And I believe that Congresswoman should apologize to every single Gold Star mother and all the parents and all the families of young men who've died in Iraq and Afghanistan or whatever it may be. We can politicize a lot of things in this country, but I hope we can keep those conversations outside of the politics. Because when President Obama was in the White House, I never said a word about his comments or his conversations with the families of those who were killed in many things that he ordered. And the reason I didn't is because I always felt that that was outside of the politics. You know, these are young men and women who volunteer to serve. Let me repeat that. These are young men and women who volunteer to serve. They don't have to do this. They could have done something else with their lives, but they chose to serve. And I think they deserve better treatment than what they got from this Congresswoman, who obviously wanted to make a name for herself or take another cheap shot at President Trump. Sorry, I don't play games with the fallen and the men and women who serve in the military, and again, who volunteer to serve. We don't have a draft in this country. You volunteer to serve. I have a son who was in the U.S. Army, so I know that they volunteer. And I know how painful some of his friends had injuries, and of course, another one who was killed in Iraq. So I understand how painful it is. And to see this Congresswoman politicize it, it's absolutely ridiculous, just totally ridiculous. Now, I want to talk about a poll that came out by a company named Morning Consult. And I don't know much about this company other than I hear that they have a very good reputation and a good track record when it comes to polling. They just came out with a poll that says 46% of the American people, or the ones who answered the poll, believe that the news media fabricates stuff about Trump. In other words, they make up stuff about Trump in their news coverage. And I think it's an amazing poll. Whether you like Trump or whether you don't, it's an amazing poll that 1 out of every 2 Americans believe that the American news media is in the business of fabricating news or making up things about the President of the United States. And I think this poll ought to be a message to the news media more than anything else, that they need to be a little bit more responsible in how they cover Donald Trump or how they cover politics in general. You know, all you had to do watch the way that Puerto Rico was covered by the media to get a sense of what I mean about fabricating news. You had the mayor of San Juan, Puerto Rico, criticizing the administration. But then you had the governor was praising the administration. The federal Congress representative was praising the administration, but they never got any publicity. It was only that lady who was the mayor of San Juan who was criticizing President Trump. She's the one who seemed to get all the publicity. So you wonder why 46% of the American people think that the media creates stuff about Trump? Well, maybe it's because they watch the news. Maybe it's because they actually watch the news and see, for example, the way Puerto Rico or the Puerto Rican story was covered by the media. So, message to the media, It doesn't make any sense when 1 out of every 2 people think that you're making up stories. That's a pretty bad story. That's a pretty bad verdict on the American news media. So wake up, because you may find yourself with fewer and fewer listeners and viewers and readers than you have right now. Have a great day, everybody. This is Silvio Cantu in Dallas. Good day.